Ladies and gentlemen, here we are at Valor and Venom, and right now we're doing another episode of The Deload. And with me, I have a very special guest. I know this man personally. I served with him for 4 years in the Marine Corps over in Crash Fire Rescue. He's got a pretty cool story. He went from a rancher to a Marine to a firefighter, and now he's a bodybuilder. And of course, you know us. We all love our strength sports, and we're trying to bring the whole community together. So let me introduce to you the man, the myth, the legend of Crash Crew, Nathan Griffiths.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, man. One thing. Bodybuilding is not about strength sports. I'm just trying to look good naked and not be functional. So you, my friend, are functional. I break a sweat tying my shoes. So let's just get that out of the way right now. I thought cardio was an Italian pasta.
It's anything over more than 5 reps. That's what I've been told my whole life is what cardio is.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And I drink antifreeze, so no big deal. Yeah.
So, man, so introduce yourself here real quick. Like what? I guess tell the people how we met. You know.
Yeah. Do you want the long version? Do you want the abridged version? Because it's an extensive story, by which I came out of the womb. I was forced from the womb actually, and I told you I was going to say this. I'm still going to say it. I came out of the womb at a frothy 8 pounds 6 ounces, and 4.6 pounds of that was dick. Because and it was like the doctors. They said, walked out of the room. He said, "Hey, the doctors, come here, look at this dick. This is crazy." So, I've been blessed many ways. So I'm not saying with dick. I'm just saying. I don't know what I'm saying, but I told you I was going to tell you that joke.
You did, and since you brought that up, I'm going to go ahead and ask the question. Since you have some special gifts and things that you were given at birth, do you have an OnlyFans page?
I do have an OnlyFans page. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out how to bring that, like, low key, bring it up on without like I'm trying to bring it up. So I'm glad you brought it up. I do have an OnlyFans. It's at _Nebraska Whitesnake. You can follow that. Only make $250,000 a year off of that, so that's just chump change out here in California. Mostly California taxes, all that, so you know how it is. I actually need to finish buying that house in Havasu, though I don't have to pay the taxes on it. But that's actually my biggest platform and why I'm actually talking to you here today. So if you want to start promoting that on the Venom and Valor, that'd be that'd be ideal. We can just get some collabs going. You know?
We will absolutely do that. In fact, you can go to the Valor and Venom Discord, and you can go ahead and post that so everybody that joins that Discord can definitely see Nathaniel Griffiths' story and his OnlyFans link.
I've got no OnlyFans. My wife would shoot me.
I know.
It's just stone cold shoot me. My wife has an OnlyFans. She doesn't know it, but she has one. That's my hunting money. No,
yeah,
I'm just
right.
kidding.
So
So I did grow up on a farm in Nebraska. I didn't want to be a farmer, man. I didn't. It's funny. I called my dad from MEPS. I was in Iowa from MEPS, and he's like, "Why are you calling?" I called him out a phone card. That's how old I am. Back in a phone card days. He's like, "Why are you calling me from Iowa?" I had caller ID, and I was like, "Well, I joined the Marine Corps." And the next 9 minutes and 45 seconds was just him chewing my ass. And he was still chewing my ass when the phone card cut out. So I don't think he was really happy that I joined the Marine Corps. But the reason I joined the Marine Corps is because the Air Force, Army, and Navy recruiter didn't answer the phone. And the Marine Corps was so desperate for people that he was willing to drive the hour and a half out to the ranch to be like, show me the kill, kill, kill 'em all video, you know?
yeah.
And he's like, you got to take a ride at the grain bin, left down No Name Road, go over the cattle crossing, and don't hit any of my cows on the way into the yard, that kind of thing. But yeah, then I met this asshole in the Marine Corps. He was a real Marine. He was a super grunt. And I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, I've seen him before. I was like, where have I seen him before? And I figured out it was on the goddamn History Channel where he was talking about rocking and socking on the 50, like on the top of some Humvee while they were getting ambushed in Iraq with some first sergeant who's now, what's his last name? Bodette.
Bodette.
Yeah. He's like some national treasure now. But here's Sean, Puffy Sean, he was a big boy.
Yeah.
Like full MRE Sean. Like full
Yeah.
like been in the field too fucking long, Sean.
That was back when you could be 20% instead of the or the 22% instead of the 18%. Yeah.
When you ran a first class.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
And I was like, who is this Sean L. Christ guy? Sean Christ. But, be a good boy. I was pissed that you were on the rescue truck on day one. I was pissed because I'd worked my ass off to get there, and you just came right in and took it.
Yeah.
But it pays to be a winner. So
it's pays to have the certifications, which you do.
We had a good time. What's up?
So, that's why I get the certifications before you come to crash crew. That's what I did.
Yeah.
it's like, oh, here's the cert, buddy.
Yeah, worked out.
Yeah.
No, so I did just under 8 years in the Marine Corps, and then I got into the Fed fire system because all of our certifications in the Marine Corps kind of transfer over to that. So I did 4 years at Quantico, and then I've been at Pendleton Fire Department for 6 years. Made LT last year.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's gone by pretty quick, so it's blown by. In fact, I asked my captain the other day because he's about to retire at the end of September. I said, "Are you worried about retiring?" And he's like, "No." I looked at him. I said, "You're a stone fucking liar." How am I supposed to say fucking?
You're fine.
I said, "You're a stone liar," because I'm petrified of it, and I got 13 more years. Like, I only know 4 things: football, firefighting, fucking, and flexing. Or there was one other one. I don't remember what it is. The 4 Fs.
Dip, dive, duck, dip, dodge.
I was on TV last night. We watched it.
Great movie.
So yeah, that's where I was. I mean, rancher, Marine Corps, bodybuilding. I've been bodybuilding for a long time. So,
so what brought you to that that point in your life? Because I know even in the Corps, like you were always talking about, and something you always talked about, but you just never had a chance to really do it because of how the operational tempo was and how busy we were. So, and then just watching you over the years, you popping up, you had your fitness thing, and now you have your personal one. Is that you're going on stage, you're doing competitions. So, what kind of steered you to that lifestyle?
Without sounding cliche here, like the first time growing up on the farm, we had HBO, and we had one of those big ass satellites. You know what I mean? Like this thing looked like the one off The Arrival. You know what I mean? Like, and the cows would knock it once in a while. They would knock it off, and I'd get pissed off because I'd be watching HBO, I'd be watching Pumping Iron, and I could watch Pumping Iron over and over again. I was just mesmerized by that. And I know that's cliche. That's what everybody always says, but that's honestly what I was like. What is this asshole moving all this weight for? But how did he get to look like that?
Right.
That's what I want to know. And I see him on the beach with all the shotties, you know what I mean? All the breezies hanging off his legs. And I'm like, there's something to that. So, like, and I played sports in high school, but we didn't have, like, a huge gym or anything like that. Like, I used to tell my dad, like, hey, can I go do weightlifting class? And he let my sister go. And Dad would be like, hell you need to lift weights for? We'll just go out and chase cows and throw hay bales. You know what I mean? I remember, like, at one point, I would be, like, out there shoulder pressing the four-wheeler once in a while. Like, that was part of my workout. Like, in between watching HBO, maybe watching pumping and stuff like that. I think what it finally turned the corner for me was, like, when I came back from Afghanistan, I'd actually leaned out a little bit because we worked our ass off. Like, worked out a lot almost every day in Afghanistan. And when I came back, I came to an actual good gym. I was like, I saw what I looked like before and what I looked like after the deployment. I was like, there's something to this. I just got to figure out the diet portion. And I didn't realize that 90% of any performance sports is diet. You know what I mean? Even these high-end athletes, power lifters, obviously bodybuilding is got to have a strict diet even with your off-season or pre-contest or whatever. But I think it was right after Afghanistan I really fell in love with it. It's for me. I never got obsessed with the movement of the weight. Like, I could care if I can make 10 pounds feel like 1,000. I don't care. Like I said, I think I'm just sadistic. I actually had a friend I was talking to about this the other day. She's a psychologist. She's like, "Do you think you're just sadistic, like with what you like to put yourself through?" I'm like, that's probably a fair assessment. That you remember when Arnold's talking about the pump? It's the most amazing thing in the world, you know, like, yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about, you know? And then I go to the gym, I'm like, oh, that's that, okay. You walk around and look like, and you feel like you can run through a brick wall.
Well, we always said it's the easiest way to get high. I mean, when you're going at it and you're getting through it, when you do a great set where it just moved well and it was heavy, or even if it was light, but you just felt, oh, I feel great. You're just sitting there like, I want to go again. I mean, it's exciting.
I went to my first powerlifting meet. I'd never been to one, and my brother-in-law was competing at the USPL, maybe. I don't know. It was in Las Vegas. It was like a month ago.
Okay.
And he's a national champion in his weight class. He's over 40 at like 200 and basically 220 pounds. And at 43, he's moving weights that not even in my wheelhouse ever in my life. And I gotta say that, like, I was watching these guys, was like, those are natural guys moving 800 pounds. In the words of Ronnie Coleman, 800 solid ass pounds.
It's
And I was thinking, like, I don't know if my joints will take that, but that's pretty fucking cool. That's the first time I was like, I could do powerlifting.
The best thing about like the powerlifting side of it, because I'm not a bodybuilder. I never went down that route, but the respect you have for bodybuilders is absolutely up here. But it's everybody has their own way of training, and training for one thing is a step above the rest, because you can go to a gym and try and get fit, but actually getting ready to go for a competition and then competing on the platform, that's like a 1% right there. Because it's like you see guys all the time, we call them the bros in the gym, like, oh great, it's like, oh, I want you to do competition. Oh, I don't gotta do any of that. It's like, well then I don't know what to tell you, because these guys go competitively. But the best thing is that when you see somebody go to competition, like you've never seen it before, then you watch it and you're just like mesmerized by how these are real people doing this. And then when you kind of like, let me dabble in it, and when you start hitting PRs and you start seeing the excitement, and then especially the backing, like, because the gym that we go to, Be Strong Powerhouse, and like Unbroken Strength and Freak Animal Fitness, and we all get together and we see each other, everybody's behind you, and that literally, like, you may think your PR is like 500, it's also, it's like you're pulling 550 that day, because you're just like, you just got the adrenaline, and everybody's there. It's like, let's go. It's a rush, man. Like you said, it's a rush you'll never get unless you do it.
I was shocked at like the age. Yeah, it was like 18-year-olds. There's an 83-year-old man that set the California record.
Right.
That set the national record that day. He squatted 315 pounds. 83 years old. If I can walk at 83 years old, I'll be excited.
Right.
I damn sure am not gonna squat 315 pounds. My fucking bones will break.
I just want to make it a 50. That's a win right there.
I was just sitting, and then the whole time, like, I asked Chris, my brother-in-law. I said, hey, I was like, no, it wasn't Chris. It was one of his friends that was there, and I said, hey, does some shit ever happen here, like bad knee dislocations and hips and elbows? He's like, oh yeah. I was like,
it does.
I'm a fireman. Like, I can deal with the aftermath. Like, I've dislocated multiple joints. I can deal with the aftermath. I can deal with other people's aftermath. I just can't watch it happen.
Right.
It just
a
little area in between and underneathing. You know what I mean? It just hurts. It just hurts. I couldn't do it.
So now I'll ask you this, because you said that you never really got in the weights until you got into the Marine Corps, correct?
Yeah.
So I remember the first time seeing you. It's obviously when you get to meet to a new section or a new wherever the hell you're going, platoon or company, whatever. You always kind of stay quiet for about 2 weeks and kind of look at people. And Griff stood out because obviously he's a big boy. I'm like, that guy's country, and like, how do you know? I go, well, Big Ten school. I can tell that's a corn-fed guy, and and you were. And the thing about that, it's like you see some of these guys that are like just naturally big, because you were a bigger guy, like you were just farm strong pretty much, like that's just what you do for working out, And with that, so when do you think it was where you kind of turned it on? Like, what year did you really just focus on, like, okay, we're gonna dial this in, this is what I want to do?
I honestly think it was like 2010, and I don't want to say I didn't lift weights. Like, we had a weight gym at my high school and stuff. And I worked out, like, when I did my first 2 years in Okinawa, and I had buddies that were into bodybuilding like I am now then, but I didn't really understand all of it. I was just going with the gym with them, and getting sore and miserable and not really eating right and staying sore too long, not understanding it. No. But I think it was when I came back from Afghanistan where I had, like, spent a lot of time watching videos, looking at Flex magazines, and learning about diet. And when I first came back, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna see how much I can grow because I was like 225 then, and there was a store next to LA Fitness in Poway, which is where I was living, and sold pro hormones, which were legal at the time, now illegal. Don't do pro hormones; they're bad for the liver. But I went over there and I was like, hey, what are these? They're like, oh, they're pro hormones. They're basically like a molecule away from steroids, but they're legal. And I'm like, if I'm gonna hang into it, I might as well hang into it as far as I can legally. Right. So I did. And Jesus Christ, I went to like 265 in like 2 months. Like 225 to 265. But I was on like 10,000 calories a day. I would eat before the gym. I would eat in the middle of my workout, and I would grab 2 California burritos as I'm going home from the gym, like just mowing through food. And now, obviously I was a little pudgy, but I was also putting on boatloads of muscle, which is kind of what you want to do. So I kind of fell in love with it then. And that's where I don't really follow a regimen. I never have. I've never had a trainer train me.
Really?
I've always done my own training. And I don't really have a set regimen. Like a lot of guys will be like, oh, I need to increase my arm size. So I'll think like that too, but like, okay, for 8 weeks I'm going to train arms, every 5 days or something like that, as opposed to doing them every 7 days. Legs for me were always, they grow like fucking weeds. Like I would tell a joke all the time, like I skip upper body day, you know what I mean? Like, I don't ever skip leg day. I haven't skipped a leg day since 85, but I skip upper body day. It's like the rest of me doesn't grow proportionally to all the fuck boys you normally see, you know what I mean? Like, so like I fell in love with it then, and I almost just became a routine. You know what I mean? I just feel weird if I don't go to the gym now. I mean, I have my days where I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take an off day today. I'm all beat up. I need a break. But I think it was probably 2010, and I didn't do my first show until 2018.
Right.
So, good 8 years of bulking. Put on some quality mass.
So what was that like doing your first show? Because obviously you said you did it for 8 years because you were dabbling in it, and then like what made you just turn that next year? You're like, you know what? It's time to go on stage.
So I'd always said, like, a few years up to that, like, I was going to do one. I was always going to do one. Everybody always says, I'm going to do a show, and then they don't do it. And it's funny, like, when you go to the muscle contests that I do, that's part of the guy's spiel. And he's this super Middle Eastern guy, thick accent, and he always says, everybody says they're going to do a show, and then they don't. You are the 1% that were brave enough to step on the stage. No one wants to eat tilapia every 4 hours. Like, this is going on and on. We're the 1%. Like, yeah, don't build me up while you give me second place again, asshole. Like, but honestly, it was I had my ex-wife. She was a commander in the Navy, and she ended up being a captain on a destroyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember her? Yeah. She was supposed to be a secret when I was enlisted.
I think I ran into you guys at a bar, and I was like,
yeah. Yeah, that's funny. We're out. So you remember Stock Mike, right, Dave?
Oh,
Dave found out about
one of my best friends.
I know. Super Dave was our section leader that day, and I get called downstairs, and he's like, "Hey, is that your girlfriend's BMW out front?" I was like, "Yeah, she had a BMW 6 Series." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You an officer?" I said, "Yeah." "What rank is she?" I said, "Lieutenant Commander." He's like, maybe I'll not have her park right out in front of Crash Crew. Maybe have her go park her car over there. I was like, how did you know that? And I forgot about the stupid fucking decal they used to have on there.
The blue sticker.
Blue stickers. Like, so she leaves. Dave calls me back, and he's like, where'd you meet her? Downtown in a bar? Oh, you been dating her? A couple of years. I was just straight up with him. I was like,
no, the best is that and I love Stock Mike. I need to get him on here one of these days because he's got some stories too. He was a skinny kid, and like when I saw him, like
he was
like that dude, but that dude got yoked. That dude got yoked. But he because we were roommates, which is funny. Because everybody's got their dirt. It's like, fuck, we were fucking roommates, and I was a sergeant. And he was, the staff was like, that's what they have. But Pachenko was like, cause we asked about it. He's like, you're pretty responsible. We don't care.
We're shitheads, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But we got home that he's like, dude, you know that? Like, it was a thing for like 24 hours. I was like, I knew for 2 years. Like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like you're on the circle of friends, buddy.
Sorry, I can't take that. Yeah, I forget where I was going with that story. Oh, my wife. Yeah, so my wife, we got towards the kind of end of our relationship, and she at one point told me, she said, well, you're that spouse. And I said, what do you mean by that? She's like, well, when I first met you, you were like jacked and juicy, you know, and lean and mean, and now you're just kind of big and fluffy, and you don't work out. Like, and I wasn't training as hard as I should have been, and I certainly wasn't eating the way I should have been. Right. But for me to lose muscle was really hard. So I still had all that muscle that I busted my ass for. I was just fat also. And I'd gotten into golf because I'd hurt my back. I'd actually hurt my back squatting. The doctor was...
You started playing golf after you hurt your back.
Yes. The doctor told me to start golfing. He said, you need to get your flexibility back. Because I used to be able to like stand in a door frame and I could kick the top of the door. And I'm about to snap a hamstring bending over to tie my shoes. Like, I had no flexibility. He's like, you need to just go take up golf or something. So I took up golf and I became obsessed with it. Just like bodybuilding. Obsessed with it. And I kind of just stopped working out. And she's like, you've become that spouse. I'm like, what do you mean by that? She's like, well, I'm kind of embarrassed to go out with you. Because she was a marathoner and super fit. But she was also had super bad narcissistic tendencies of like... didn't want to be judged by people, and for lack of a better term, she came up, you know what I mean? Like, she grew up kind of poor white trash and then put herself through college, and she came up, so she wouldn't be associated with something that wasn't what she thought she was. Okay. And she thought that I was bringing that down. And so we ended up separating and getting a divorce, and I was like, I'll show that bitch. And 5 months later, I was like 235 and 6% body fat. Like, that was my first show. I went from 295 to 235 in 5 months. And I don't know, I think I have it on my Instagram page, but that was my first show, and it was like, okay, I could do this, because it was pretty brutal, but it's great to fall in love with the process, you know. You're like, and being with someone that like, okay, if I like to train to the point of sedition, why wouldn't I put myself through misery to the point of sedition, you know, like dieting. It's one thing to say you're dieting. It's a completely another thing to say you're dieting in such a calorie deficit, and now you got to go do 45 minutes of cardio on a Stairmaster, and then tomorrow you got to wake up and do the same thing again. So right. For me, that's kind of it's more up here. You know? It's like, how bad, I always want to make improvements, but how bad can I make it suck? So, that's kind of why I started doing the shows.
I'll ask this real quick. You know, like I said, we'll ask questions. If there's one you don't want to answer, then you don't get an answer. But obviously, going through a divorce, I've been through 3 of them. So it's a little stressful. It's a little mentally taxing. Do you think the gym helped you out with that? You know,
100%.
That's
no fucking no.
That's what we try to tell people all the time.
I went from I had my little window there where I was like bitter beer face, Bopey. You know, I had like my 3-week window where it was like, go out and drink every night. You know what I mean? I got to the point one morning, I was like, oh, she ain't gonna tell me I'm fat. And I think, bless his heart, my older brother used to call me fat all the time. Honestly, I used to be a fat little shit. I mean, I was a 70-pound kindergartner. I was like, I broke 200, you know, at like in 7th grade, I think. 7th or 8th grade. Yeah. And that was always my joke. Like, my max weight in the Marine Corps could be 202 pounds. I was like, well, I broke that in fucking 8th grade. Yeah. Like, I am not going to make that.
Bring the tape.
Yeah, just bring them over. I'm not even stepping on your bullshit scale. Like, yeah. Did you ever, were you there in Miramar when they put me on BCP?
Yes.
Oh, I think it was towards the end.
You were? It was near the end. When you were getting ready to leave, it was well, we'll get into what he was doing before, but yeah, you were getting ready to leave, and I was picking up and going to recruiting, and I remember I kind of heard that. I'm going,
yeah. Okay. So I walked into, that's right. You remember our CO used to play for, or he didn't play for. He went to Notre Dame.
Yeah. Of course we did. That's all I heard about.
And I obviously he found out he was like giving me shit. He was talking about Notre Dame one day, and they just got boat raced by LSU or some shit like that. And I was giving him shit. He's like, where'd you go to college? I was like, well, I didn't go to college yet, sir, but I'm from Nebraska, and that's about as good as going to Nebraska. He's like, oh, God, fucking Cornhuskers, right? So we used to give each other shit all the time. Well, one day I go in there to S3, and this is like not long after I started the pro hormones. I'm like 265. I ran a 286 PFT. Ran a 2130 at 265.
Right.
Which is, my knees were screaming, but I did it.
And you're trucking, a lot of inertia behind that.
Yeah. I was like, I asked him, I said, can I do more pull-ups and run slower? Like, just to even that out, you know? And I go over there and I get taped, and I don't make the tape, right? Which is stupid. So, but I'm like V'd out, like I'm a large American, and I can still obviously perform. So I go in there and they're like, yep, you're going to be on BCP. BCP starts tomorrow. It's in that open field just on the other side of IPAC. Oh. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I only got 6 months left. I don't give a fuck. So I go out there, and the CO actually comes out there and PTs with the fat bodies. Right. You know what I mean? I always tell people all that. They don't understand that the Marine Corps is ruthless on fat people. So they call them the fat bodies. So I go out there, and I'm in the back, and we're doing a little calisthenics, and I'm jumping, you know. And the CO comes out there. He's like, hey, Griff, what are you doing? I was like, I'm on BCP. And he's like, yeah, right. Yeah. He's like, are you one of the instructors out here? I was like, nah, I stopped doing my jump. He's like, no, I'm really on BCP, sir. And he's like, I need to see you in my office tomorrow morning in Chuck's. Yeah. I said, right. All right, sir, no problem. He's a smart ass, you know. And we do the whole workout together. We're bullshitting back and forth, had a good time. So the next morning, I go over to the head shed, and my Chucks were tailored to the 200
tape. They're tapered all that.
They look like Baby Gap had bought these things and painted them on me, dude.
Right.
If I were to sneeze, I would have snapped one of the shirt stays, right? Yeah. So I walk in there and I go to the adj first, who's a lieutenant, and I said, "Hey, sir, the CO wanted to see me this morning." He's like, "Oh yeah, what's up, fatty?" Yeah. I'm like, you're not supposed to talk to me like that. I'm pretty sure, but
right.
I just kind of cracked and laughed at him, you know. So he goes into the office. He's like, "Hey, Chubbs McGee," or another nickname like Chubbs is here to see you. He sent his fat ass in here. So I go in, I cut the rug, and before I can even report, he's like, "Get out! You're not on BCP."
Right.
Like, he looked at me in the Chucks. He's like, "No, that is not a BCP Marine.
Right.
Get out of here.
You don't look like a pair. That's the key.
Not getting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not getting a bad fit rep for what you are, just because you're a large American. You know what I mean? So that was one instance in which the Marine Corps did right.
Yeah, but you know, I will say this, and you know, and everybody knows me. When it comes like Captain America, I bleed red, white, and blue, and I love the Corps, and it's a big part of me. But it's the one thing I never understood. That's like somebody trying to better themselves. You're gonna punish them. I go, I don't understand this. It's like it's common sense. You look at somebody, it's like, okay, that person lifts weight, it works out. What's his PFT? It's a 285. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's one thing if he looks like that and he runs like a third class. I get that. Like, you're not training right, but I mean, he can't give somebody a commendatory PFT and then put him on PCP because believe it or not, when you're in the Marine Corps, you get like a little certificate that says like you complete like 275 or above. So hey, great job, you're an all-star. But you're
you know what I used to get real bitter about in the Marine Corps is like the people that were actually pretty fat. They just had an unfortunate body type, you know what I mean? Because then we go out there on the run. I feel like 22-minute 3 mile for a 230-pound guy is pretty respectable.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm not a fucking rabbit. I get that. No. How is that guy that looks like a pear running an 18-minute 3 mile? That's not fair.
No.
He can only do 6 pull-ups, but I'm dying. Like, I'm breathing blood. Right. I'm like, trying to catch these fuckers. I'm dying, and they're just getting further and further away. I'm like, what is going on in this world? How can he look like that and just be boat racing me?
Yeah,
I can't even catch up to him to draft off of him. The son of a bitch.
Yeah, as you can see here on the deload, you know, it's we try to keep it, you know, to a table. But some of these stories we have, we just want to let you guys know it's always a journey, especially when it comes to like any kind of fitness. You just look at some things and it's like when you think's common sense, somebody's like, well, that's not right. It's like, I thought we're all on the same page. We're all trying to be in shape and better ourselves. But you're right. You know, that guy's a piece of garbage. He only ran an 18-minute mile at 240 pounds. You're right.
I don't judge the way people go.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
I judge.
You judge the shit out of them.
I shouldn't say I don't always judge.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I don't often judge the way people train because if you're in the, as you know, when you're in the gym long enough, you're gonna see some gym fuckery. You know what I mean? We all follow those Instagram pages, and you're like, what is going on with that individual over there? But I acknowledge the fact that everybody has their own training style. I think I have a rule for people that, like, I get people who want to train with me all the time. What's up, man? Can I train with you? And I'm like, sure. But my first training session is legs. Right. If you can get through legs with me, you can get through the other stuff. And I don't have a training partner to this day. Like, I'm not saying that guys couldn't get through training. Like, I don't have a consistent training partner. Like, most guys just don't want to be sadistic like that. Like, everybody's always got a thing, you know. I'm sorry, I got a thing, I got to cancel. Oh, shocking. You'll be here tomorrow on arm day, though, right?
Yeah. Well, chest and arms, I'll be there.
Yeah, the bro workout.
Yeah, right. But no, and that's we can talk all day about that. But one of the things I do want to ask you is, while you were doing this, along the way, because you're kind of tallying in, because you all said about we follow the influencer or this stuff. It's like I did arms day, and then meanwhile I'm gonna bend over and show you my butt. It's like that doesn't make any sense. But you see, you see it all the time. But
stupid. What's
some advice that I guess you can give somebody that is thinking about kind of getting into bodybuilding? Like whether they're a beginner or they dabble a little bit into the gym, like just what is the advice you want to give somebody that says, hey, I see how you look fantastic, I've seen you on stage, how do I get into become a bodybuilder?
So I get people that ask me a lot in the gym. They'll say like, hey, I'm trying to grow. That's all. I mean, most guys aren't trying to get ripped right off the bat, you know. Some of them are here in California. Got some beach lovers out here or whatever, but guys that are actually trying to grow and put on like muscle mass and stuff, just don't eat enough. And I don't think people understand how much you have to eat to grow, especially for an ectomorph or even a mesomorph. Like I'm a meso. Yeah. And I don't know if your viewers know what those are. Like there's endomorph, that's a naturally kind of fat person. There's a mesomorph that can be naturally fat and very muscular and can go up and down in weight in both. I can lose body fat, I can gain body fat, I can gain muscle, I can lose muscle pretty easily. Ectomorphs, it is so hard for them to put on weight, whether it's muscle or body fat. I got one of my best friends, Bruce. He's an ectomorph. The asshole will eat shit all day for weeks and still has abs. It's like I want to slap you. I can look at a donut and I'm losing lines. You know what I mean? Like
abs just going away. They're just exploding.
Yeah, they're just My abs right now, like I'm in my off season. My abs are fucking hanging on by a fingernail. Like just please don't eat that pancake. You know. So I just tell people all the time that like if you really want to grow, if you really want to gain muscle, don't go right into juice right off the bat. You're 20 years old. You don't need that yet. I'm not saying you ever need that, but you need to eat. So I'll ask them, be like, hey, what'd you have for breakfast? I'd be like, oh, I had, 6 egg whites and a cup of oatmeal. I'm like, okay, what time was that? No, it was about 6:30 this morning. I was like, okay. What'd you eat for second breakfast?
That's right.
What'd you eat for third breakfast? I'm like when I was trying to grow, like the formative years of the muscle that I'm capable of putting on for my physique and my genetics, like that's what it was. It was breakfast, couple of lunches, and then a dinner, and then I would train and I would eat in the middle of training and then eat. I would wake up in the middle of the night. I was setting an alarm and wake up in the middle of the night and eat like ground beef, cheese, and some potatoes, and then go back to bed. And if you aren't constantly sweating, then you probably aren't eating enough. And I tell people all the time, I say you don't have to be miserable, but you got to be borderline miserable full all the time, especially if you're an ectomorph. And I think that's the hardest thing. And then the last thing I throw on there, if you're gonna ask me what's false, is amino acids. Amino acids, I'm telling you right now, amino acids companies, let this be a warning to you right now.
Hold on, stop selling. I'm gonna zoom you in. You get the whole screen.
Stop selling your bullshit amino acids because they're overpriced bullshit. Want some amino acids? Eat some protein. There you go. There it is. I drink amino acids for water flavor. That's it. Stupid.
Our guests here pull no punches. They tell you how it is.
That's right. I'm coming after you, amino acid companies.
No, you hit the nail on the head there. That's one of the things. You're drinking it, yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things that I blew me away. And obviously, actually today is the first day at 6 o'clock here. I'm going to the gym since I've been in 6 months because, I was pretty much on house arrest for that because of an incident that happened back in January.
Pretty serious medical.
Yeah. It's best like, oh, you never had any surgeries? No, and the doctor's like, well, this is a good one. This is a good one to have the first one. I'm like, yeah. It's like, all right. But it's when you're going through it and you're looking at it, I remember when I was training for even powerlifting, I was still losing weight. I'm like, I don't understand. And it's like I'm up to 4,500 calories a day, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like, just because I never done it before. But the coaches, everybody's like, no, because you're putting the effort out, and that's just for for size and for strength. And then I talked about them earlier, which I owe them pretty much the world. This show. The business doesn't exist without Rafe Melissa Tyke. I'm wearing her shirt right here, because she's on her road to the Olympia again, like she was last year. And you see these two. I mean, they're yin and yang. I mean, they're Hansel and Gretel pretty much. Like like that's what they live. They're bodybuilders, and that's what they live the lifestyle. They own the gym to live the lifestyle. And and you just see them like, yep, gotta eat again. But then it's the opposite caveat because when it's time to cut, it's like, I got a rice cake in 2 hours. It's like, oh my god, you're just never happy.
I'm telling you, I'm just getting excited thinking about it. So my wife and I have a routine. I have a routine, right? I got to get into a little bit of like relationship stuff later in this. If I have time. But like,
we got time in the world, buddy.
Every show I come off the stage. So I've showed you my sister-in-law's brownies, right?
No.
I got to show you my sister-in-law's brownies.
What you should have did was mail them to the show. You knew you were coming on here.
Brownies.
And I could have ate them.
This is my hand. The brownies eat my fucking hand, Sean. They eat my hand. They're so good.
Oh my god.
I'm getting excited thinking about them right now. When I come off that stage, so Tanya is my sister-in-law. She gives me, and they're called West Coast Confection. She gives me one of my brownies, or she gives me a box full of brownies. But my wife picks one for me, and then this is so white trash. Cadbury Easter eggs. Underrated is the Cadbury Easter egg. Underrated in the world of bodybuilding is the Cadbury Easter egg. Because when I come off stage, my wife unwraps the Cadbury Easter egg, and that's the first little chocolate I get in 16 weeks. And it's just gets me right here, buddy. It's just so exciting. It's so exciting because you have no idea when you're dying. Like, I mean, you're walking away on the Stairmaster, trudging away, emaciated, and you're like just thinking, peak week, baby. Easter eggs. Easter eggs.
The best line I ever heard. Best line I ever heard. We're sitting there and like, I hate to say it because like we're all in the gym together, and all of a sudden someone goes, "Man, I could smell water." I'm going, what? Like what? Like, that water smells so good. I'm going, okay. Like, what are you doing?
I'm sure. Like, I'm sure your friend knows. Like, every show you learn something a little bit new. Like right now, I'm in a little bit different of an off season than I've ever done. This is a very structured off season for me. 3 shows ago, I didn't reverse diet the way I was supposed to. I was like, fuck it. I've been dieting too hard. I'm over it. We're going to Vegas and we're going to Cancun, right?
Yeah.
So I do a photo shoot on the beach. The next day we jet to Vegas. I'm eating Krispy Kremes. We went to Gallagher's in Vegas. Just killing everything under the sun. Donuts, Cinnabons, honey buns, everything. And I'm killing water. And I'd had diuretics. I took a LASIK, which if you do bodybuilding, don't ever take a diuretic. It just ruins your physique. So I got all the water out of me, right? You know, a diuretic won't allow your body to maintain that water. It just keeps getting rid of it until it doesn't. Then your body's like, oh, I don't have this diuretic in me anymore. I'm just going to hold on to all this water. I put 40 pounds on in 3 days. You could have grabbed my ankles and left your fucking fingerprints in them. It was wild, dude. And I'm like walking around. I went from like jacked and juicy to just a puffer fish, man. You could have popped me with a pin. It was crazy. So don't do that. That's my third don't do if you're going to do a bodybuilding show.
Is that just because it just reacted because you had so much stuff coming in and they're like, oh, what?
Yeah.
We starved ourselves.
Yeah, when you're carb depleted, you're not used to eating sugar or having a bunch of salt and no water. When you add all of those things back in at the same time in large amounts continuously throughout the day. Your body's like, I'm gonna take all this because I'm never gonna get it ever again. I'm gonna hold on to it, and it fucking did.
Jesus Christ.
I've seen people end up in the hospital for that. I didn't know that. So like coupled with flying to Cancun, like when you get on a plane you get a little bit swollen, dude. My face was like, dude, it was crazy. It was crazy. I don't ever recommend it.
Looked like you got stung by like a hornet's nest or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, I was allergic to shellfish.
There's shrimp in there.
Yeah. It was rough. I don't know about like. Have you ever? I'm curious to know if like powerlifting does the same. Like you guys, the way you guys train. So I watched Chris train, my brother-in-law, and the way you guys train is like you do it for like 8 weeks. You're building up strength, and then you back off before the show, right?
As the show's called the deload, we call it the deload, where it's like that final week. It's like you're just going in there, stay loose, and even like I think pretty much from what I've known is that the rule of thumb is that 3 days out. So like if your show's on a Saturday, Wednesday's your last day. Sometimes people take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They don't even touch the gym. They maybe go in and just walk. They do some cardio just to stay loose. But some guys just say that's it. I'm at where I'm at. But then there's some crazy guys that sit there and do like 440 like the day for the show. I'm like, so. But the rule of thumb is that they have that deload week where it's like, no, you can't go in there and you just let your body heal, because when it's go time, it's go time.
So that time, how long do you guys train for going up to the show? Is it 8, 10, 12? Like for me, my standard prep is usually somewhere between 12 to 16 weeks, usually 16.
For my first show, it was pretty much just on a whim. I think we started training, it was right after Stack Monsters in October, where Matt, my training partner, he's like, hey, I never done a show. And he's a fitness instructor. He's actually a biochemist, though. He's all, he does all this stuff. And he was just like, people, I always get people that always want to do a show, and I can't ever say like what I've done. So he's like, screw it. I actually want to train for a show. And he's a bodybuilder by trade. So he was like, you want to do it with me? I said, absolutely. So for me, I did a workout where it was pretty much November 1st to like March like 7th, something like that. So it was just like our window. But that just me, because we got guys at our gym. Vinny Claren, I gotta get him on the show. He gets invited to go, so he gets invited like Steffi Cohen's events and goes down, and he can get up like 1,800, stuff like that for a total. And he'll goes, I do one show. Like he'll do one show. Well, he'll just basically 6 months after the show, he's kind of like getting in there doing it. He's still training, but then all of a sudden when he turns it on, it's like he turns it on. Yeah. So it's kind of like what you want to do. There's some guys that they like to train because they want to do like multiple shows. Like, no, we're in it, boom, 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 and then you back off. So I mean, for me, kind of, I guess 6 months is like, I guess the average from what I've seen. Now that's just me personally. I'm not saying that's the exact answer, but for the majority of people that I see train, it's about 6 months is what it is to go do a powerlifting meet.
Do you see I don't know I'm trying to figure out how to articulate this. Do you see relationship, like you need a lot of support for that, because that becomes like so for like when I prep for a show, I ask my wife. Each show I've gone harder and harder and harder, and each one I've become more and more Joe Pesci that eats your Snickers. You know what I mean? Like, like, and so I asked her. I said, "Hey, can we start a show? Like, I want to start in like around Thanksgiving, and then we'll do it in April." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, "Are you sure?"
Right.
Because I'm gonna go harder this time. And she's like, "Yeah, babe, it's fine." And she's super supportive. I love her to death for that. And like, she make me my little meals. She goes to the gym with me twice a day. She's a gym rat like me.
Yeah.
Is it the same for powerlifting? Because I'm telling you, like, for 16 weeks, I live like a monk. Just wake up, cardio, eat, train, cardio, sleep. Like, that's it. That is all there is to me. And I know that's probably a little bit narcissistic tendency, but I can't go half into something. So I just want to know if it's the same thing for powerlifting. You obviously have a support system.
It pretty much is. We have a lot of people over there at Beast that they're couples. They come in there, and some people, you've seen it where it's like what are you doing in there? And it's like, tell him or her, because we have females, women body powerlift too, so it doesn't matter. Where it's like, bring your spouse, just bring them in the gym so they can see that like you're not just sitting here doing nothing. And then it's just like, oh, you're okay, now I know why you're not answering my 5 text messages. I'm asking like, where's the butter? It's like, figure it out, like it's like, because you got to be in it. And like for me, well, I mean, I'm not gonna get into like my past relationships and all that, but it was tough. But like when it came down to it, I was just like, I'm going solo to the meet because I want no distractions. Just you gotta be. You did all that work. It's like, no, I want to do this, and you pretty much just surround yourself with people that are there to support you. But yeah, having your significant other on your side, it's 100%.
My wife is understanding as she is, even at my shows. Like she knows that like I'm already kind of a head case. So that would be my other thing about somebody who wants to do a bodybuilding show. Really consider, because I don't really tell a lot of people this, but it's probably give me some pretty bad body dysmorphia. Like I don't like my body. I don't like my body right now because I'm not jacked and juicy. I don't like my body when I'm jacked and juicy because I'm small. You know what I mean? Like it's just this vicious, this toilet bowl of circle of just shit you're in. You know what I mean? Like you hate yourself. All you see is flaws. You don't see the good. But the last few days, like leading up to the show, are the worst because it's like I'm not mean. I'm not like steroid crazy or anything like that. But like that's the worst of it. It's like, man, I'm not ready. Like, oh, I gotta get this water off of me. And everything's gotta be perfect. I gotta have the hotel room and all this stuff. So she just knows that like once we get to the hotel, once I've got my tan on, just go hang out with your girls. Just leave me the fuck alone, and I'll see you on show day.
No, I mean, I think like you kind of hit the nail on the head again, to be cliche, what I said earlier. But it's something about that final 2 weeks where I've seen guys that look phenomenal. Like, oh, you're getting ready, and all of a sudden they're like, I don't think I'm ready. It's like, whoa. Like whatever you're going through right now, you're not quitting. Like you're not stopping. Like you're there. You're in it. You're in it now. Like that time was 5 months ago. It's like no. It's like, but again, it is a very. I try to explain to people when you go on a competition level, it is more mental than it is physical. I said you gotta dedicate yourself to it, and you just gotta have your mindset. And some of these people, that work like 22 hours in a day, and like that's their passion, they still do it, and it's just like that's a step above everybody else. Because
I tell people all the time, I'm fortunate with my job because one, I'm in a job that requires me to be physically fit in general, anyways. But so I have like allotted time where we get to go to the gym, unless we're out on a fire or something like that, right? But I remember a couple years ago I was doing CSTI hazmat tech up in LA, and I was on just regular working hours, 9 to 5. Class started at 9, ended at 5. I was training, and I was like, dude, I don't know how normal people do this. This is miserable. I can't go to the gym whenever I want. Like, because that's how I am right now. Like, I came home this morning. I went to the gym this morning. My wife's teaching a spin class tonight. Like, I'm going to go back to the gym with her tonight. But tomorrow, I don't have shit going on. I got a doctor's appointment. I can get it. If I want to go to the gym in the afternoon, I'll go to the gym in the afternoon. If I want to go in the morning, I'll go in the morning. There's nothing I have to do. But these poor bastards that have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the gym, or they have to go when they get off in the evening, I can see how that would be difficult. I don't enjoy getting up and going at 4:30 every in the morning. Like I can't do weights early in the morning. That's not my thing. If I have to do cardio, I'll do cardio.
As I got to about 30 years old, like I don't know, maybe it's just the injuries and the stuff I went through. When I got medical retired and all that stuff, I kind of flipped from being a night owl to an early bird. So it's like every day I'm up at 4. It doesn't matter if I go to bed at 1 in the morning. I'm up at 4. So I'm like, all right, let's go. I mean, you're up. Swing your legs over, put it on the ground, just go. Because it's like, I can't go back to sleep. And then when I do finally go back to sleep, if I want to go to the gym in the evening, it's like, I'm going to go do it. And it's not good. So I do go in the morning, so thank God for that. But sometimes if I'm not doing anything, nothing's going on, like I'll go like nighttime, something like that. And we got some heavy hitters in there at night, man. We're talking to these guys that just got off work at like 8 at night or 9 at night. And they're training at like, midnight to 2, and they're throwing up like 405 on the bench, squatting like 700. You're like, this is where the Neanderthals are. This is where the gargoyles live. It's like, holy shit.
I think for me, there's something about being in that environment. Like, I gotta take off a fucking shoe to count how many gym memberships I have. I think but some of like, there's something to be said about an environment, especially for like when I'm prepping for a show. Off season, I can get through it, but prepping for a show, like I need to be in that environment where a bunch of other meatheads are also suffering, where I can like, I don't know, just bro down about like, what are you doing for your diet? How are you training? Oh, I want to try that. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And just, oh, he's killing it over there, and I know he's in low calories, so I don't have a reason to be bitching right now. You know what I mean? I'm on more carbs than he is. That kind of thing.
Right.
And there's definitely something. So that's why I say like my wife should be like, "What are you going to that gym for?" I'm like, "'Cause I can't just go to these cookie cutter fitness centers where these little shitheads got their tripods up that think they're going to be in Olympia this September and they started training last week." You know what I mean? Like, put your fucking stringer away, put a shirt on, and get out of in front of the dumbbells. Like, I just get all bitter. And I need that environment sometimes, even when I'm not trained with somebody. Like I got my boys that I train with occasionally, but most of the time I just need that environment.
No, that's 100% what it is. It's shield sharpens shield. Iron sharpens iron, however you want to say it, whichever way you fly. It's if you surround yourself by people that are successful in the same mindset that you have, that winning mindset, the training mindset, you're gonna fear each other. I for one am a person that I usually train sometimes by myself, but like I said, when Matt pretty much was like, we're gonna do this together. Oh, it's better when you're training with somebody or a partner. Oh my God, you're just pushing yourself. Because it's just that Neanderthal mentality. Like, I don't want you to do better than me. We want to stay the same pill or try to pass you, and you just go.
I think we're both probably the same. We're both competitive by nature. You know what I mean? Like, if we're walking to the car from Walmart, I want to beat you to the car.
You're gonna walk faster, and I'm gonna
walk faster than you. Like, it's like Cole Trickle and Rowdy Burns.
Oh, I know. It's like, you only took 6 bags of groceries. I took 7 bags of groceries. No big deal.
You only spent $300. You only spent $300 at Costco on chicken.
Yeah.
I'm get out of bed for less than $5.
You gotta pump those numbers up, boy.
Yeah, rookie. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's see. So something else I want to ask you too is, so since you kind of said it, obviously we've all had relationships in the past, and like your wife now, how did you guys meet? Because she's into fitness as well. So like how did that work? How did you luck out and find something like that?
Well, we both got into fitness pizza in our mouths, so we're both foodies. That has nothing to do with how we met, but that's the most fitness that we're into. We're both crazy foodies, though. We actually met at a place called the Belly Up in Solana Beach, and funny enough, it was at a Toad the Wet Sprocket concert. Low key, I'm a big Toad fan. So I rolled down there solo. Totally went down there. Nobody was off that wanted to go see Toad. I guess I'm an old soul. I go in there to see Toad, and lo and behold, there's this Shoddy Mac at the bar, and I just couldn't help myself. She's a tall drink of water, and I was thirsty. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't help myself. Rest is history. I found out that she was big into the gym too. Funny enough, like she'd been going to the same gym as me. I just had never seen her there.
Really?
So, yeah. Also, she's half Persian and Mexican, so we're looking to get the minority benefits out of that as well. So.
Plus, she's always tan.
Yeah. She can sit outside for a couple minutes and be dark, and I can sit outside for 30 and be red. So
that's your color. So, it brings out the blue in your eyes. It really does.
Yeah. No, she's cool. That's why I say I think it's important to have somebody. I don't like to. It's weird to compare spouses, but my ex-wife never would have. One, taken the time, and two, been open to the whole bodybuilding thing. You know what I mean? Like my wife now is totally. She likes. I think she likes spending the time in the gym more than I do, for the sense that that's like her. That's her mental. It's mental for her. You know what I mean? That's her time to just go off into the deep end and let her mind relax and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying I don't do that, but it's almost spiritual for her. For me, it's like I got a fucking purpose in here. Like I'm not gonna lose this next show.
Right? Yeah.
And then I go lose the next show, and then I get close to me and I just repeat the circle. So. Yeah.
Where so I mean, you kind of said earlier that you kind of don't have your fitness channel anymore, and we were talking. And but I mean, where do you see yourself going with this? Because I know you told me off camera that this is like more as a hobby. You just do it because you want to do it, which is the best because you're having fun with it, which is awesome.
Yeah, bodybuilding for me it's it's a journey. Like I don't have any aspirations to be a pro. I'm not saying I won't be a pro. Um, I don't want to. I don't like putting like ceilings on things. So like to say that I'll never be a pro. Like I'm not. I don't know that for sure. I train every day and I go at it like as much as I can. I think there's a lot that comes into play with it, like genetics and these kinds of things. But I just do it for fun. For me, it's a hobby, and when it starts to not be fun is when I get really frustrated with it. There's times that it has not been fun, and I've just taken a break from it. But as for where I want it to go, like I don't do a lot of, I don't do any in-person training anymore, and part of that is because a lot of gyms don't like that. The gyms that we have out here, they want you to pay a outrageous amount of money to use their gym to train there. So most of the stuff that I do is online, and it's mostly nutritional. I do a lot of pro bono stuff. Like I don't charge people for. I don't think. I don't like the way the fitness industry is going right now, where all of a sudden you did a show and everybody's an expert. You know what I mean? It's like it took me a good 12 years to figure out how my body works, and that's just a base template for everybody. I mean, there's kind of a premise of how losing body fat works and stuff like that while maintaining strength, whatever your goal is. But I don't like the fact that a lot of these trainers will try and keep you with them for what seems like the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like I've had a couple of nutritionists and they're like, okay, hit me up next month for advice. And it's like, no, I'm paying you for why are you when I first started out, why am I eating this? I want to know the why. Why am I eating egg whites in the morning? Why am I eating peanut butter in the evening? Why am I eating oatmeal in the morning? That kind of thing. So my thing with people is when I give them a diet plan, they get full access to me, obviously. But my goal is to teach you what works for you. We'll learn what works for you. And then after like 3 or 4 months, once you figured it out and what the basis of what you know about nutrition, you're off to the winds. You know what I mean? I don't need you to keep paying me, and you shouldn't keep paying me. Like that's a huge issue in the fitness industry, I think, right now. Like once you learn what works for you, I'm not saying that you can't like progress or your goals change and stuff like that. But once you learn what works for you, why would you need to keep paying me? Like if I haven't taught you what you need to know in 4 months, then you need to get a new trainer.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'll carry that to the Marine Corps. It's like I've taught you what you need to know and move on. It's like I don't need to keep teaching. If I can teach you the same thing over and over again, it's like you're not getting it. So this is not working for you.
Yeah. And it's almost I feel bad for taking someone's money longer than that. It's like you're not getting anything from me other than if you want a different plan or you change your goals. You know what I mean? Like if you followed your goals to 3 months and we met those goals, if you want to change your goals, okay, nutritionally will change you up. But if you have the same goals and you already met those goals, I feel bad taking your money. I guess I'm a good old boy bleeding heart. So I'm a marketing manager's worst fucking nightmare is what I am.
You're the guy in the insurance company. You're like, hey, if you want more money, do this, this, and this, this, and this, and this. Instead of like, what are you doing? We're trying to save money.
My wife's a sales director, and she obviously it hasn't rubbed off.
I gotcha. Yeah. Hey, if you guys are watching this now or you watch this in the future, basically we're just shooting a shit out here, and if you haven't checked them out, and go ahead and plug your thing if they want to get a hold of you for your nutrition and whatnot, for your online coaching.
So if they want to get a hold of me, like I said, I had an Instagram.
Right.
I had an Instagram for the fitness page. And he's already laughing. What an asshole, because I already told him this story. So I had an Instagram for the fitness page, and it was Infinite Strength. I forget even what it was now. I got rid of it because I got some odd requests, and I got them multiple times for underwear, sexual acts, and as a married man, I'm not interested in either sex for that matter. I just got rid of that. Like so my Instagram is Nathan_Lee22, and that has I'm going to say these dreaded 3 words right now: link in bio. Link in bio.
Like, share, subscribe.
Trick stories taking you to my OnlyFans, but no, it's I have a website and all my contact information is on there, I found that since I've done that, it has cut down on a lot. One, I don't get any requests for underwear anymore, which is good. But two, if you're willing to click on that link and go through my website and read about it, and all my information is at the bottom, and you still want to call me or email me, then that's somebody that, to me, is going through a little bit of effort to find what they want. And you can see that my picture's on there. You can see my transformation from fat to fit, back to fat, back to fit, back to fat, back to fit, and I just keep doing this over and over again. But you can see, so you can see that I'm not totally psycho. You know what I mean? Well, I'm pretty psycho, but you can see that I know what I'm doing for me. And the thing I tell people is I don't do shows. I don't. It terrifies me to try and do a show prep for somebody because I would never want to ruin 16 weeks of somebody's training. So I just do the transformational stuff. You want to learn a little bit about nutrition, you want to learn some training, you want some coaching here and there, I'm your guy. If you want a competition prep coach, you want to do your first show, I know plenty of people in the industry, and I will refer you to who I think would fit you best. But, yeah, so all the links are in my bio for my website. He's such a dick. He just laughs.
No, but one of the biggest things is that you know, you're being honest, and you know, and that's, I think, that'll probably hopefully get you more people that they know that, because it's like, you know, when you go for this 16-win competition, the goal is to win, you know, and like you even said, you're doing it for yourself, and you definitely don't want to, like, you just don't want to step in that realm, which some people do. And I think what you said earlier is that you do get those people that win one show and they think, oh, I'll take it to the Arnold. It's like, you just,
or they don't even win. They just do a show.
Right. And that's it.
Just did a show 2 weeks ago, accepting clients. Like, oh, you're 22 years old. I bet you have a lot of experience. You know, I mean, I'm not to say that you get these genetic freaks. You know, I don't know. I just
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't ever go anything half cocked, but I also know I probably got some limitations. So for me in general, but I blast it as hard as I can. I have fun with it and let the cards fall where they fall. So fuck you, muscle contest. No, I'm just kidding.
so
it won't get me.
Yeah, that can just start at that.
Yeah.
But moving forward, you know, where do you see, like, where are you going from today on the rest of the year or to next year? Like, where are you taking yourself?
So right now, my coach and I are doing, it's called a structured off season. I basically am on prep. I just actually get carbs. So we're doing that to keep the body fat off. So the crazy transformations that you see on my website, we're going to try and eliminate me getting to 285 and being, you know, 16-17% body fat, which is what I'm normally able to get to. Instead, we're going to keep me a lower body fat percentage, try not to get over 270, and then strip me down to like 245, where I don't have to drop as much weight. And hopefully just come in tighter. That's always the knock against me every year, is my lower back and my glutes. I don't know if you know anything about grading, but that's what they always tell me. They're like, oh, your glutes weren't striated enough this time. You got better this year, but they weren't striated enough. Like, well, I'm outweighing everybody on stage by 60 pounds. And you're telling me that my glutes aren't striated enough. So it's like, it gets frustrating, because I know bodybuilding is political. I'm not saying I got beat due to politics. Like, I've been beaten fairly by guys, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's hard to understand why when they give you that reason. So the point is to stay leaner. Like I said, the abs are hanging on by a fingernail. Try and keep those. And then my wife and I are going on our honeymoon in December. We're going to Germany and Austria, taking her to the homeland. So going to Germany and Austria. And then when I get back, we'll get back into prep. And I'm probably looking at April next year-ish time frame. So,
do you know what show it's going to be at or anything?
So Muscle Contest doesn't come out with their shows until for the next year, usually in November. So they usually have shows in April. The reason I always do shows either March, April, or early May. And the reason I do that is the very first show that I did it in July. I was originally supposed to do it in June, and I wasn't ready yet. I had a different coach, and I was severely depleted, and I ended up going on a fire. And I don't know if you've ever been on a wildland fire. in a severe calorie deficit 3 weeks out. But when you're hiking hills and smoke and no calories, it gets pretty shitty. And I remember my buddy and I, we came off the hill and we were dying. I mean, we were the last men standing, right? And we're going up this hill. Like, if I'm standing at the hill, I could reach out and touch it in front of us. And we're going up this hill chasing this fire, and we're dragging hose. And by the time we got back down, they bring these kits for us down to the bottom of the hill. And I open these things up. And do you know what a Crustable is?
Oh, you talk about the sandwiches? They're delicious? The peanut butter ones?
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Frozen or unfrozen, they're a godsend. If you want to spice it up, throw it in the toaster.
That is not on a prep diet, I can guarantee you. But I ate about 6 or 7 of them when I came off the hill. And I realized then that, like, yeah, maybe doing a show during wildland season isn't a good idea. So from then on, I always cut the shows off early May. The latest I'll go is mid-May. I mean, even then it's pushing it. It's like, we're getting into gray area there. So, no, that's the plan for now. Grinding at work. I'm headed back to the ranch next month. Or this month. Today's August 1st. So.
Back in Nebraska?
Yeah, back to Nebraska. Go back and scout a little bit so we can get the spirit of the wild going. I go back there again in November to go bow hunting. So, spirit of the wild. Uncle Ted will be with me on the shoulder. Yeah.
I got a question for you, actually. So, the fact that you're a full-time firefighter, correct? Mm-hmm. And and obviously what you just said, you're pretty now since you've learned, you're smart about this lifestyle that you do as a hobby, for fun on top of your job, but you still take the job in consideration. Like, that's what the bread and butter is. This is what I do. What is it challenging to do like a firefighting job? And if people don't know, like a firefighting job, obviously, I'm assuming you're on your shift schedule, your swing shift or something like that. So you do kind of have time to do other hobbies and whatnot, but still, it's like a lot of times you're not doing anything as a firefighter, but when you're doing something, you're doing something, and it's
yeah. So like, it's funny when I first met my wife, we were first dating, and she'd text me like, "What are you doing?" Now we're playing Xbox. And she texted me a little bit later, "What are you guys doing?" "We just got back from the gym." "What are you doing now?" "Now we're playing cornhole." "What are you doing now?" "We're all getting ready to eat dinner." She's like, "Do you guys ever do any work, or you just eat, play cornhole, Xbox, and hang out at the station all day?" It's like, well, you didn't ask me what I was doing in between those times. Like,
right.
I'm doing other things. I'm running calls, you know what I mean, here and there. But, yeah, I think it's easy for me because it's what I know now. You know what I mean? Like I said, I get to kind of train. I'm getting to that point now where occasionally I get to run the crew, and like everybody knows that, okay, Griff goes to the gym. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, we're all going to the gym. Like, well, the rule in the fire department is if one person wants to go, some crews don't go to the gym.
Right.
Most crews do. Some of them like to go for hikes and all that shit, right? But if one guy wants to go to the gym, we all go to the gym. That's the rule. So usually I want to go to the gym, and by default, every crew that I've ended up being on, eventually the whole crew wants to go to the gym. So we all go to the gym, we hang out with family, stuff like that. But there are things that I've had to learn the hard way. Like, I don't do legs ever at work. Ever. When I came here from Virginia back to California, I trained legs one day, and I just like I do, just stone cold murdered them, right? Like 187 on both my legs. What do you think happened about 2 hours later?
You gotta call.
You're gonna go on a breast fire, and I gotta hike a fucking hill that's like Mount Olympus. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing in there. The legs are locking up. You know what I mean? Like I'm running on coffee and hope. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that, because I didn't mean to cut you off there, but because I just remember looking when you were working in Virginia, you were rubbing some shoulders. Now this is not so much a fitness thing, but more of a Marine Corps thing. You were rubbing some shoulders with like some pretty business. I remember one story you told me, you're like, I just walked in this office, like, what's going on? I think it was a sergeant major or the commandant or something like that. And he's like, well, how you doing?
Dude, what?
You were like sitting. You were sitting in like a.
Oh yeah, that was a sergeant major of the Marine Corps.
Yeah, you're like, what's up, dude?
No, so that was my ex-wife. She was stationed at the Pentagon.
Right.
I went to see her one day, and You'll appreciate this. I went by the gold-plated AK-47 that they have on the ring, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in her office, and I look down the hallway, and it says Commandant of the Marine Corps. I'm like, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. So then I asked her, like, yeah, do you? She's like, oh yeah, I see him in the gym every morning. They're at the Pentagon. And I'm like, oh, you're married to a Marine, asshole. Like, what I got to do, you know? So one day I went to see her at the Pentagon, and she's like, yeah, let's just go see Bill. Bill? Yeah, Sergeant Major Barrett.
Yeah.
I think his name was Bill.
Yeah. It was something like that. But it's Barrett. Yeah, it was Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett. Yeah. Let's go see him. I'm like, okay. So I go in there. Let me tell you, this is the cool part. So he was a super cool dude. He's from Bloomfield, Indiana. Yeah. He's a good old boy, right? He had, think of boot camp size foot lockers, right? He had this table. It was a huge table, and I probably couldn't wingspan it from side to side. And it had a glass plate, and underneath that was all the coins of all the units he's ever received a coin from, right? And I said, oh man, that table's really cool. He's like, oh, you think that's cool? Check this shit out. And he flips open 2 of these foot lockers, and they are filled from the bottom to the top of all the other coins that he has.
Christ.
And I'm like, how are you going to get that out of your car? He's like, I got a couple Lance Corporals. I was like, God damn it, staff and seals never change.
Hey, you made over the hill, man. You use them. Yeah, because I first saw a picture, and I met Sergeant Major Barrett when we won RSS of the year, and then we won RS of the year for Cleveland. And he came and gave us a coin, and a big trophy, and all that stuff. And that dude just liked to have a good time. Just like, what's up, man? It's like some people. I never understood people that are like, well, that's how I base that Marine Corps. It's like, dude, he puts his shoes on just like just go talk to him, man. Just have a good time, because you never see him again, probably. Just go enjoy the moment.
I don't know if I ever told you this. So when I was in Virginia, I got into jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, and Muay Thai and then jiu-jitsu, and my Shidoshi, I used to call him Shidoshi Tanaka, even though that's how blood sport. He's like, that's totally not Japanese,
right.
And 2, I'm not a Shidoshi.
There's don't reference that movie ever again. So many faults in that movie.
Shidoshi Tanaka. Yeah, we're going to the Kumite. So he would. He's like, yeah, I used to know this guy. I cannot remember his name. He was a Master Guns in the Marine Corps. Basically pioneered the Marine Corps martial arts program, McMap. Yeah. So he's like, hey, we're gonna go up to Atlantic City. We're gonna do this fight camp and do kind of a semi-fight. I'm like, do you want to go? I'm like, well, yeah, because I'd been doing Muay Thai for 1 solid year, so I was basically pretty good. I was pretty deadly. And then I started doing jiu-jitsu, and then he got me into catch wrestling to like do the transitional stuff. And I'm like, yeah, sure, that sounds like fun. So I was able to, what I thought, like, at least protect myself, right? So we go up to Atlantic City. I meet this Master Guns. The dude's super cool. He just bashes the McMap program the whole time. He's like, it is not what I designed it to be. It's trash. He said, you ever seen that video of Jim Carrey where he's like, you're doing it wrong. You need to attack me like this. He's like, that's what the Marine Corps martial arts program is now. It's a joke. And it was then I learned that martial arts was not for me because I got kicked in the liver. And if you've ever been kicked in the liver and anyone tells you it's not childbirth, they're fucking wrong. Because it is a life-changing moment, and I didn't do martial arts after that. Like, I did it for a week, and I was like, this ain't for me, dude. I got kicked in the liver, and that's fucking it. I think
you sat back and thought, how did I get here? What?
The worst fucking thing ever to happen to you. And like, how do you, who thinks of that? I'm going to kick this guy in the liver. And then he just fucking did it, and it was... like 2 seconds later, I'm just, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here, let's go to the bar. But I got to rub some elbows with some pretty cool people.
You had a pretty cool Instagram. You have a pretty cool Instagram, not gonna lie, like, it's pretty interesting. Just watching, especially knowing you and watching where you were and where you're going and like where you're going now, because that's what the whole point of this interview is. But speaking about this, so like I said, the whole point of this podcast and doing this is obviously if we get veterans on here, I'm going to caveat, especially during the fitness, we'll do the fitness side, but I also want to do the Marine Corps side because we can relate to little things, and you there civilians, you maybe been entertained by some of this. But so this man, Nathan Griffiths, is actually a legend.
You know where it's
going. And I promise Knipple I'd do it. Is that so? In the crash, fire, and rescue lexicon that's in the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
When something happens out in town, it's obviously recorded, and since it's such a small community, word gets around, and you kind of build that rep,
Mm.
So when something happens in another country, it's almost on the verge of an international incident, and it definitely gets around and do that. So today, I'm gonna ask Mr. Griffith is if he could shed some light on the Iwakuni incident that happened.
Okinawa.
Okinawa incident that happened at the McDonald's in what year?
You're gonna spread fake news. You gotta make sure it's the right fake news.
Right. And what year was this? What year was this? 2004? 2006? Seven. Sorry.
January 1st, 2007.
Okay.
January 1st.
So I'm gonna let this man tell you the story. Maybe this will be the tell-all. Maybe this will be the truth, because there's been many versions of the story.
Nobody believes me. I'm wrongfully accused. I need to be vindicated. Apparently, this is a cold case. It's gonna be on Forensic Files in a couple of weeks. Paul Zahn. I gotta get an independent arbitrator to come out here and exonerate me again, because NCIS didn't do a good enough job. So we went out to. So we went out to the bar scene. Me and a bunch of people went out to the bar scene in Okinawa. And it was New Year's Eve, 2006. And if you've ever been to the bar scene in Okinawa, it's a lot of karaoke. It's a lot of buy me drinkies. It's a lot of drinking. There's a lot of people that go out there. There's Air Force, Marine Corps, Navy, Coast Guard. All the forces are out there. It's called Gate 2. Just a big bar area, right? A lot of live music. So we're out there partying the whole night, and I end up pretty drunk. I remember at least leaving with two guys. One's name was James, and the other name was Curtis. And both these guys wanted to go to another bar. I said, all right, let's go to another bar. I hadn't been to this particular area on the island. I'd only been there like half a year thus far. So we go to this other bar. Like, hey, why don't you go get us a honcho? Honcho is a cab. Why don't you go get us a cab, and we're gonna go over here into this building. I'm like, well, what's in that building? Like, it's just some girls that we want to go see that they know us. I'm like, all right. So I go get us a cab. I remember getting the cab, and they come out, and we leave. We go to this other place that they knew, and meanwhile, like, I'd taken tequila shots, so I was really drunk. I'm kind of in and out of remembering, like, driving down the road or whatever. So we get to this spot, and they're like, hey, we're going to let the honcho go. Griff, you just stay here on the curb. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm just going to stay here on the fucking curb? Like, what are you guys doing? But I didn't care. I was so drunk. I just wanted to lay down and go to sleep. So I laid out on the curb. I don't know how long I was out. I don't know what happened during that time. I don't even know where we were. But we come back, go back to the base. Like 3 or 4 months later, I'm at a training exercise on the Air Force Base. And my gunny calls me, Monty, which is consequently he teaches us hazmat now for the base. He comes over. So I constantly get reminded of this every time he comes by work. Yeah. And he has to make sure that all the new guys that haven't heard the story, like, Griffiths is a murderer, or whatever the fuck he wants to call me. Yeah. And he's like, hey, I need you to come back. Well, back then, if you were getting called back, that was usually you got in a Red Cross message. Somebody in your family was in the hospital, or somebody died, or you were in a lot of trouble. None of which are good. So I get back there. He's like, hey, you want to tell me about this? And he shows me this picture right here.
And if you can't tell, if you look at the bottom there, right there, look at the finger. That is Mr. Griffith. That's your boy right there.
That's your boy. That's your boy right there. Yeah.
American History X was a big movie back then, apparently.
That's in McDonald's. I got profiled. Wrongfully accused. So what had happened is basically some woman had been robbed for 2 cigarettes and a lighter. And because we were in that area at 6:03 a.m. January 1st, 2007, we were profiled as the prime suspects because she said it was a couple of white guys. So, NCIS is there to take me away. They take me into interrogation. They tried to play the good cop, bad cop with me. I was a good soldier. I didn't roll on either of my homies. Like, I'll tell you this. I don't know that they did it. I don't know that they didn't do it. I know I didn't do it. But I was drunk enough that there were parts of the night where they could have done it, and I wouldn't know.
Right.
But I told NCIS, like a good brother, stayed strong. I sweated it out for a good 6 hours in interrogation. That I knew where they were the entire time. I knew they were with me. I knew exactly what they were doing. We weren't in Mayahara getting whores or anything like that, because apparently that's the area that we were in that I didn't know. That was the red light district. I'd never been. These assholes have been on the island for like a year already. So they released me. It was time for me to PCS to Miramar, and like, oh, you're on legal hold, and I'm like, fuck am I on legal hold now for? Oh, it's that same thing for when you raped that girl. I'm like, no. Well, let me back up. So I go to the E Club. Yeah, this is the best part. I go to the E Club. This is not long after my NCIS interrogation. So they sent out an email to all sergeant majors on the Pacific. Have you seen these Marines? Attach that picture to it. Call NCIS, a long dissertation, right? So I walk into the E Club on Fatima, which is my base. Walk in there. I'm like, hey, can I get a Crown and Coke? I look down at the end of the bar. There's that fucking picture. Have you seen these Marines? Contact NCIS. I'm like, this bitch is gonna turn me in. They're gonna be coming for me. So I'm about to PCS. I'm on legal hold. They're like, oh, you got to go out and talk to the Japanese police now. And remember Bachelman?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, Bachelman. We had a master sergeant that was like old school hard ass. Yeah. Super good dude, but he didn't take no shit from nobody. He was like George W.
We're gonna find her.
Yeah, if you come to Texas, we will kill you back. Yeah. So he's like, yeah, dude, like, you might be put in prison for like 28 days on fish heads and rice. Like, you can't tell somebody that. Like, I'm a good old boy from Nebraska. Like, I'm not going to jail on fish heads and rice.
Right.
He's like, you got to go interview, and I got to take you there. So he takes me down there. They sit me down. I had this translator, and the guy, he says something in Japanese to me. And the translator's like, we know you did it. It's like, I feel like he said a lot more than that. and I said, no, I didn't. And she speaks Japanese back to him. And he's like, yes, you did. Like, no, I didn't. Like, for 4 hours, this shit goes back and forth. Finally, I'm like, where are we at here? Because I haven't admitted to doing anything, and I'm not going to. And they just let me go. And like a week later, I get a call from the adjutant that's like, oh, you're good. Sorry. Like, everybody here on this base thinks I'm a murderer. Like I held this woman strong-armed robbery, you know what I mean? Like,
here's your piece of papers. Best of luck.
Yeah, wish you the best of luck. Go to Miramar. You're just gonna leave it behind you.
Yeah. So, yeah. Monty actually just texted right now. I can see on the stream. He says, ha ha ha. Who sent you that picture?
Oh, he did. I asked him for it. Well, so we have a new chief that he did like 2 years in Okinawa as a chief over there, and I was like, I bet you got a lot of crazy stories. But I bet you ain't got no crazy story like that. Yeah, I got arrested by NCIS.
Yeah, that was like one of the first things I found about. Like that was like, oh yeah, the Corporal Griffith. I'm like, okay. They're like, well, he I think they like it was, you know, it was like that. He murdered somebody. He raped. I'm going. Yeah.
It was everything. I've murdered someone. I murdered her. I raped her. I'm covering it up for Snyder and Griffin. Strong arm robbery. Like, we stole all of her money. Like, it's been everything. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, is there a report? They're like, oh, there's no report. I go, this is exactly guilty to proven innocent, isn't it? I go, if there's nothing there, then the guy didn't do anything. And they're like, oh no, we highly suspect something happened. I'm like, you don't have any proof, so quit telling. I was like, quit telling people that. Like, I'm like, is that what you tell everybody that's new that comes here? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Just got a vote of confidence from Monty. He's like, I still think you're guilty. I'm like, you bitch. Stop spreading your fake fucking news. I'm gonna go to Fox News with my story and get vindicated.
Yeah, it's that's just one of the stories. Like that's a thing, you know. And again, it's just the experience you go through, but it makes you realize you go from the age of 17 to like, oh, this is some real shit going on. Like, what's going on here? Yeah. So you were saying you talked to your dad. I'm not trying to backtrack to the beginning of the podcast, but I guess I'll say this: in what ways, negative or positive, did you pull anything out of your time in the Marine Corps?
I think and you can ask my brother, my older brother, and he'll tell you the same thing. I think it definitely needed it. I started working on our farm pretty young, and our dad put a lot of responsibility on us pretty early, and he needed us for that, for the farm or whatever. So I think by the time I left and went to the Marine Corps, like I was just that my time in between graduating high school and the Marine Corps, I just went roughshod because I'd worked on the farm, played sports, like I'd spent all my time on that farm. I was just over being on that farm. And that time period between the Marine Corps and being on the farm I needed some discipline injected back in my life. Like, I admit it. And I think that's what the Marine Corps did. I also think it gave me a bunch of new buddies, whether some of them were all good for me or bad, but it gave me some buddies to like, okay, I might go get in trouble with these guys, but at least I'm with my guys. You know what I mean? Like camaraderie, brotherhood, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think definitely you probably had the same thing in the infantry, but I mean, you know how crash crew is, but crash crew is like you spend every day with one another. You know what I mean? Like even when you're off, especially if you're living in the barracks. So you're at work with these guys for 48 hours, and then you go off and you go to the barracks and you're at the barracks with these guys for another 48 hours when you're off before you go back to work with them. So you spend all this time with somebody, and you get to know them and you hang out with them, and you kind of just you're their best friends and they're your best friends and they're your buddies, and you kind of try to keep each other out of trouble. Like maybe you shouldn't like bottle rocket in the barracks, like maybe you shouldn't throw that beer bottle off the top of the roof, kind of thing, like.
See that Lance Corporal? Yeah. Why is he between two mattresses and why is he dangling off their deck?
Yeah.
Please don't do
that. And then as you go, you get more and more responsibility in the Marine Corps, and you're like, okay, I got to start acting like a grown up now and not being a shithead. But no, I think it definitely injected discipline in me. I still have a lot of structure. Like I think that's definitely spilled over into the fitness world. Like I'm very this, then this, then this, then this. Like this action has this consequences or this ramifications or this positivity to it, that kind of thing. It's funny, I'm one of my chiefs and I are putting together a kind of a leadership seminar for all of our new lieutenants / new captains that we have and stuff like that. Sure. And I do the mentorship portion of it. And it is to a T the Marine Corps mentorship program. It's like I try not to be that Marine Corps nerd, camaraderie, brother, because I'm really not. Call it. I got out of the Marine Corps real bitter, and then I like appreciated it. Yeah. Can appreciate it now, but definitely the mentorship program of it. Cause it's like there's a lot of companies out there that don't have organizational development and leadership like the Marine Corps does. Like it's like my wife's company. She works for a really cool company, but they have no organizational structure, and it's so odd to me. It's like reading Chinese algebra. You know what I mean? So for me in my life, that's how I live my life. Here, I have basically a set schedule, even at home, like what I do every day. Excuse me. Sorry.
Okay.
Chicken and rice. Delicious. Yeah. But no, the Marine Corps. I mean, it taught me a lot. I think. I always wonder, like, what would I have been if I had just been a poor dirt farmer in Nebraska? You know what I mean? Probably would have been successful enough at it, but
would you have been happy? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you back then, hell no. If me back then, if you would have asked me that question back then, I'd be like, hell no. I do not want to work on this farm for the next 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? Here, like I tell people all the time, I've never had to grow up. You know what I mean? Like I was on the farm, and then I went to the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps definitely didn't make me grow up. And then I went into the fire department, which is basically the same thing as Marine Corps. Like I didn't have to grow up again. Like I went from one frat house to another.
I mean, you said earlier, you said you the infantry and all stuff. I said that I lucked out. I mean, just the career choice I had. Now, my thing is that I love being infantry, and the only reason I left infantry is because my first ex-wife at the time, she didn't want me to deploy anymore. I mean, we had 3 tours, and we're talking 4 years, and she's like, and a lot of guys even know I was married, and it's like you deploy again, I'm divorcing. It's like, okay, well, you understand that this is what's providing all the bread and butter, so I'm not going to get out, but I can change my job. What would you like me to do? And she's like, oh, my brother's a firefighter, so why don't you be a firefighter? So I was like, I don't think the Marine Corps has it. Talks them first, aren't they? Got crash fire rescue. Okay, no problem. And you know, that's why I came to you guys. And it's you're with each other pretty much more than your actual family.
Sure.
And like in the Marine Corps, if not the Marine Corps, but the infantry side, it's kind of funny because you know I put shit to bed real quick when it came to that. Well, you don't understand that crash crew. I'm like, right, I'm not. I'm not. Do you understand that? I didn't come in the Marine Corps as a sergeant. I had to pick this up for doing something, you know. And it's like no, just understand this. It's the fact that this is what we're doing. This is the job you have, and it's like we're all together, but you're not sitting there getting eaten by mosquitoes. You're not sitting there in a swamp. You're not freezing. You're in a house. Yeah. It's if you want, you can go watch TV or go pass out, and you know it's like that. It's not a fault to anybody's. It's that you just don't know until you know. But me personally, I love coming to Miramar every day. I'm like, I tell people, I said, I found a diamond in the rough in this gun club. Oh, yeah. I said, I cannot believe we get paid to do this. Yeah. And you know, they're like, oh, what are those pogues? Like I said, they're just like the same idiots we had ever. Doesn't matter pogue or not. It's like we're all retarded. They're all stupid in some way. Excuse my language, but you know, it's like you have those guys. You have those guys that are great. You have those guys that ain't. Nothing changes. Just the faces change. But I enjoyed, you know, you guys all the time. I still talk about that this day. And I wish that I was a little closer with you guys. The biggest regret that I have in CFR is that I never got a chance to deploy, and I begged all 4 years, begged and pleaded, and the answer I kept going was, "Oh, well, you already deployed, 3 times. There's guys who haven't deployed." I go, "That's not my problem." I go, "What are they doing? Are they doing CFR? Are they doing security?" And then I found out that you're doing 50-50 split of security and CFR. I said, "What do you think would be great to have on a security outpost? Somebody that's actually done that for 4 years that could actually teach them and do stuff with them, or, well, you should be okay with that." So I
can teach you how to run a plasma cutter.
yeah. But that was just the one thing that it really left me sour, is that I never got that bond. And I can tell you right now, I don't have that with a lot of you guys because I never deployed, and I get that. But that's the one thing that I do regret my career, is that they did not let me deploy, and it's still this day it bothers me because I want to do that with you guys to show like, hey, we can go there and take care of each other and do this.
I will say some of the funnest times, and I won't talk about the stories, but some of the funnest times I had were in country. Like that stick in my head the most were in country. You know what I mean? Like, if the American people only knew everything that happens over there.
I say this day. I said, I was talking to my buddy JC Gunner Knight, like a week ago. I said, man, if we had cell phones or all this social media crap like we were in. Oh my God, we'd be you won't be able to deploy anymore. Yeah. And that's not even on you. You're just wrong place, wrong time. It's like, what is this going on? And it's one of those things, man, where like for us, I learned a lot from you guys, my time in, because I had to. I go, well, they've been here for 4 years. I'm just coming in here, and I get it, because we had the same thing in infantry. It's like you get guys that would come in as a staff sergeant or NCO that was like VCR repair or this and that, and you're like, hey, we're gonna do stuff this way. It's like you haven't deployed. You're gonna tell me how we're gonna come back and survive? Like that, dude. Just humble yourself and listen. So I try to do that with you guys, and it was the when we had the crash in 07. I think it was 07 or 08. The F-18 they went down. 08, yeah. On December, I think it was December like 7th or something like that.
Something like that,
yeah. Honestly, it was organized chaos, and where I kind of started paying more attention to you guys, because a lot of guys did that and they never seen something like that.
Yeah.
And I'd pull them aside, kind of like, they're just guys that are really flamboyant, really kind of their personality, all funny. They're humble, they're quiet. And I started pulling them in the sergeants. I was going like, what's going on? I'm okay. No, what's going on? Talk to me.
Yeah,
I know what's going on. But it was like, ever since then, it was like, that's the closest thing I got to where it's like, hey, we all did this together, and we were there, because it's like, oh, everybody pulls their weight, Yeah. But I mean, that's
you're in a suck together, That's the cool thing about it. So
That's the best thing I tell people that I took out of the Marine Corps is like the worst experience, like just the worst, like snowing nuclear waste on you, just like that. But everybody who's in that together, you're just like, we're here, man. We're in this together, and it is what it is.
I tell people all the time, like I'll say like, oh, I was just talking to my buddy, and my wife would be like, I don't know him. Like
Right.
she knows most of my friends, and they're like, oh, well, I haven't talked to him in like 2 years. But that's a normal thing in the Marine Corps. It's like, oh, you didn't talk to this guy for 2 years, and you literally picked up on the conversation right where you left off 2 years
Right.
ago.
But hold on one second, I'll be right back. They never come back, and 20 years later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I was telling you, it's like,
That's why. Remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
that's one of the coolest things. So let's see. We've been on here for about an hour and a half now.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that you'd like to plug? Anything else you want to say? I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, this is it's a buddy of mine, and the whole point of this is that we're trying to get people that are in the fitness, to get people on here that have had an interesting lifestyle, had an interesting dynamic of how they grew up into where they are now. And you got somebody who didn't know what he wanted to do, joined the military, went back and forth trying to figure out if he wanted to get into stuff, and then all of a sudden, boom. Here he is as a competitive bodybuilder. I mean, that's what you are. Whether you want to go pro or not, you're stepping on the stage and you're doing the thing. And that's what the most important is, to inspire people, never expire, is basically what we try to teach here. Yeah. And the one thing that we've left off, but I'm going to hit it real quick before we end this, is that technically, if you looked at it and how it was written, is that Mr. Griffith over here and another individual is also, look in the background. There, we saw her. Stick your head back in. Come here, sweetheart. Come here, sweetheart.
My wife.
All right,
Yeah.
so since you're here, so let's go.
Those glasses, Jesus Christ.
It's really bright in this room.
Yeah. I found this thing. It's like blinding. I know.
They
Hello.
hello. They didn't see him like hook up. He goes, I found this thing, and he's like dying because it's like right in his face. I'm like, so it's a sacrifice you got to do for prime time.
Blair Witch Project in the background.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
What I was gonna say is that technically he's also a semi-pro football player, and you experienced
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
Technically,
That's
you
true.
are. So how'd you fall into that?
Well, so the Miramar was having a football team. We had a football team, and they were doing the Camp Pendleton Football League. And I played linebacker in high school. And I remember I went out for the tryouts, and I was like, I'm gonna try and play linebacker. And I looked out there, and it was like 150 linebackers all in one line, and there were nothing of any other position. It's like everybody on Miramar was a linebacker in Texas or something, or Ohio. You know?
Yeah.
Playing Ohio 5A, whatever.
What's the hell?
Yeah.
It's 5A.
Yeah. So
I didn't know there's anything less than Division 3. What the hell?
I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, I feel pretty athletic, but I also like. And I'm looking over here at like the receiver line, and you remember Necessary Roughness with Scott Bakula?
Oh, absolutely.
Featherstone. Every single one of them couldn't fucking catch the ball, like just stone hands, right? They're all hella fast, but just can't catch the ball. I'm like, I can catch the ball. I'm not fast. I could get in the way of some people. Maybe I could be a tight end, and then I won't have to fight all those fucks over there for playing time linebacker. So I went over there and I went through the line, and like, you catch the ball on the left side, catch the ball on the right side, catch the ball on the left side, right side, down the gauntlet. And this major comes over. He's like, "Hey, you ever played tight end before?" I was like, "Nope." He's like, "You want to?" I was like, "Yep." So and then I ended up making good friends with who ended up being our quarterback. Our quarterback was bigger than me at the time. I was like,
I remember seeing him one time. Yeah,
6 foot 230, and Donnie played at SMU, and got in trouble for drinking, and ended up joining the Marine Corps. Right, got kicked off the team and joined the Marine Corps, and Donnie was a good boy. Donnie actually died a couple years ago, but he was a good boy. He's like, "Hey, here's what we're gonna do. These receivers suck, so just block occasionally, and we're just gonna audible, and you're gonna go out for passes a lot." And I said, "That's a fucking cool idea." And then he ended up like I was his receiver all the time, right? I was a receiver. But I'm gonna tell you right now, between all the football I've ever played, one season of Marine Corps football was the absolute most brutal fucking football I've ever played in my life. Because we go play these grunts. We're not good at football. All they wanted to do was hurt you. It just wanted to hurt you. And I broke both the carpals in this hand, separated a shoulder, broke a rib. I hadn't had that many injuries in any time I'd played football. Like, I dislocated a knee once. That was it. Like, I had no injuries. Dude, just getting killed. And I remember one time we were playing these grunts, and Donnie, like, stretched me out like this. And some linebacker from 11th Marines just cut me in half. And I remember going back, like, I had a visor, and I took my helmet off. I was walking back looking at Donnie, and I could see Donnie had a clear visor, and he was just like this. And I said, if you ever do that again, I will quit and I will not play anymore. He's like, I'm sorry. It's like, it was just a little 10-yard pass, and he just stretched me right out perfect for this guy just to cut me in half, dude. It was the most miserable fucking thing ever happened. But yeah, I was on the cover of the Marine Corps Times, actually.
You were? Yes, you were.
I was.
Yes, you
Cover
were.
of the Marine Corps Times. Funny story, going back to Sergeant Major Barrett, I mentioned the Marine Corps Times to him, and he's like, that fucking trash. He just started trashing the Marine Corps Times. It's like garbage, TMZ, tabloid, like National Enquirer at best. I was like, geez, dude, tell me how you really feel. Yeah. I neglected to mention to him that I was on the cover of it. I was like, I was going to leave that part out.
I just want to know if you knew about it. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And then I'll throw his name out there. We'll just give one of his names Howard, who was just a good dude. I don't care. That dude was a man's man, I think.
He's an animal.
What did he end up playing?
The end.
Of course, because he had
Big
speed.
9'8".
His speed.
Big 9'8" out of the hated Michigan.
Yeah, he
the
did.
hated for you people.
Oh, I made him work crew if the game was on. I was like, "You're working today." He's like, "What do you mean?" I go, "Hey, working today." I go, "I'm in charge of the roster. You think I'm gonna have you off? I'm going to Moondoggies. You ain't going there."
Yeah. No, he was an absolute animal, and in fact, I would when we would line up, when we would play good on good, like defense versus offense, I would look over and be like, all right, what side Shane on? Shane's on this side and I'm the tight end. I'd look at Donnie and be like, hey, let's swap it. So I want to go on the other side. I don't want to try and block that fucking guy. Like, no. He just made me look like an asshole. Like, let me just go out and catch passes and not have to get in Shane's way.
I missed Howard. When I left, I was like, there was a lot of you guys I missed. I was like, man, I missed that guy. Yeah, I was.
He tackled a quarterback. I forget from which unit. He tackled a quarterback from behind one time, and this kid's leg got caught under him. I can still hear the kid's screams because he was laying face down, and he had rotated his knee 180 degrees in the other direction, and his foot was facing up.
Jesus.
And obviously the medics had to come and take him off the field. This kid was just, and that field was already dirt. Like, all the grass was gone, and each time he screamed, I'd see a puff of dirt come out from his mask. It was like, God, not only is he screaming and his knees all fucked up, but he can't fucking breathe. Like, get him out of there.
It was cool watching you guys do that. I think with the one game, I was like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
And also, Nathan and I are, not to brag or anything, we stopped on top of the mountain because once you reach this pinnacle, it just stops sports. Was the flag football in 2009?
Flag football champions 2 years in a row. Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Cowboys. That's right. We had a little kid saying, "We." Remember that? We'd say, "We are." They'd say,
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No big deal. So we breed champions is what we do here.
Yeah, that's what we do.
But hey, man, dude, it's been an absolute blast catching up with you and definitely getting your story out there. And like I say, we're new getting this podcast get going, but hey, it's one of those things. The point of it is that somebody has a unique story, like you said, inspired, never expire, and now it's on the internet forever. So you want to show your grandkids, and if anybody wants to come back to it and watch it, it's here, man.
Said bad words, and now my nanny can't watch it. Nanny's my grandma. I feel bad about that, but hopefully she'll forgive me.
We'll see. I don't know what you guys do over there in Nebraska.
No.
So, but wait, hit him up on Instagram. What do you want? Where can they follow you at, or where can they see you?
You can follow me on the old gram. It's I gotta look. Honestly, my number one Instagram is my wife's Instagram. She posts more pictures of me than I do.
Plug it.
That's Nathan_Lee22. Hit me up if you got any questions. I'm always open, man. I mean, I like to help people. So if you got nutrition questions, I'll answer you. I'm not the guru of all things nutrition, but I'll pass on what I do know, and if I don't know, I'll definitely get somebody that does know the answer and hit you up. So, any questions, let me know. See you later, big boy.
Yes, sir. So here you have it. We just finished up with another episode of the D-Load. So if you're looking to go ahead and find some nutrition advice for bodybuilding and any kind of strength sports, this is the station you want to be at. And always remember is that we are here for you. We want to make sure you guys share any kind of experience you have. And also, always inspire, never expire. We'll see you later.
That's it.